87%. Yeah, that's the percentage of all real estate agents that get in the business today that'll be gone in 2 years. Let me tell you something. Why is there so much turnover in real estate? Because it isn't easy. And because most people don't know exactly what they need to do to get to the next level. Now look, regardless of whether you're brand new to the industry or you're a team leader, you've got 40 people on your team and you just want to get to the next level. If you're doing 10 transactions a year, you want to get to 25. You're doing 500 transactions a year, you want to get to 1,000. You're at 1,000, you want to get to 10,000. Let me tell you something. You need the right coach. Why? Because Club Wealth is the only coaching company on the planet that will literally guarantee that you will double your income or make at least an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, or we will give you 100% of your investment back. This is for people of all levels. Click the link below, sign up for the appropriate tier level, and let's get you a strategy session today. And I promise you, I 100% guarantee you, promise you, that you will walk away with a heart full of gratitude for the time that we took for you because you got so much value out of that call. Schedule your strategy session today. I promise you'll be glad you did.
Sign up for a strategy session at clubwealth.com/strategy session.
It's Club Wealth TV time, and check it out. I am here. It is Michael Hellickson with Club Wealth Coaching and Consulting, and I'm with Coach Jocelyn Deal. We are talking about her top 3 lead generation strategies right now. We're talking about her top 3 recruiting strategies, and we're going to be talking about a whole lot more. So check this out. First and foremost, what you need to know is why in the world should I listen to Jocelyn Deal? Well, let me just tell you. Jocelyn is what's called a tier 3. And what that means is that she closes between 75 and 150 transactions a year. Pretty good, right? She manages to do this in a place called Indiana, which what's really interesting about that is there's not a lot more transactions in Indiana than that. There's like, I think 160 transactions all year in all of Indiana. Is that about right, Jocelyn? Okay, it's not quite that bad, but most of them involve corn. And so anyway, Jocelyn does very, very well in a market that a lot of people would say that there's some limits on, but there's not. I fully expect that Jocelyn's going to be moving to tiers 4 and 5 very soon. I would venture to guess that within the next couple of years, she'll be doing over 500 transactions a year. And so she's going to talk to us about what she's doing to get there. She's got a team of 14 real estate agents there, which is pretty impressive, not bad. And Jocelyn is sharing everything with us today. So Jocelyn, first of all, welcome to Club Wealth TV. Very excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, super excited about this. So what I want to know first, I want to dive right into the lead sources because right now a lot of people are struggling to find business. There's a lot of people on the fence. There's, agents have been dropping like flies, which is awesome. It sucks for them, unfortunately, but it's awesome for those of you that are here and serious and they're going to do really well. But what I want to know is let's talk about those lead sources. What are you using for lead sources right now that's working the very, very best?
Well, our team is at an advantage. We are only one of 8 teams in all of Central Indiana who actually have access to Zillow Flex. Uh-huh. And so we do have Zillow Flex. So that is probably our top lead source at the moment, but we're looking at adding on 20 additional lead sources next year. So we are gearing up to definitely be able to scale and everything else. Our second lead source that we use is basically just word of mouth, referral, repeat investor clients, and sphere of influence. So the majority of my business, I would say majority of my personal business that I do is in between 50 to 75% of investors. And a lot of those are repeat investors. And so I get a lot of the ones that do like the fix and flips, or, maybe a few years ago, they purchased the rental properties and now they're ready to offload those. So the majority of people that I personally work with are investors, and then also new builds, new construction, and everything like that. So I love that area. And then my third one would be social media. So definitely all things, Facebook and learning YouTube and learning more about Instagram as well. But definitely Facebook would be a big one as well.
Okay, so we're going to dive into each one of these. I just typed them into the chat, in the Facebook chat. And by the way, those of you that are watching, feel free to ask your questions of Jocelyn while we're live here today. And we'll see if we can't answer them live on screen. And when you do, tell me, I'm really curious of the people that are watching right now, where are you guys from? Type your market into, just type in what market do you serve in the Facebook chat here. Now, so let's start with this, Zillow Flex. So most agents are thinking to themselves right now, well, I can't get Zillow Flex, or they don't have Zillow Flex in my area. Let's assume that Zillow Flex does exist in their area. How would an agent get access to Zillow Flex? How would they get to be chosen as one of the agents that gets to work Zillow Flex?
I honestly don't even know if they're accepting new teams right now at all. You have to be a team. You can't be an individual agent. So you have to be a high producing team, and you have to be willing to play ball, because obviously they have a lot of rules and stipulations, and you have to work their leads a certain way, and you have to play ball with them. And so it's definitely a thing that you have to qualify for. And then you have to go through a very rigorous process just to even be able to access those types of leads, because it's basically Zillow on steroids is essentially what it is.
Okay, so tell me, what was that process like? What did that look like?
I had to prove myself. I had to prove my team. And then we still have to prove ourselves on a biweekly basis, which is, they've got metrics that they have all their AI that are listening to our conversations. And you have to have a certain amount of agents on your team, a certain amount of answers, a certain amount of, like they do the ALM. So they have their AI listening to the things that you're saying, and they rate you on that. And then appointments set, appointments met, and then contracts and everything else. So they're really strict with what they yeah. So you just have to meet all their standards, and have to be able to handle them constantly talking to you about disengagement.
Are you serious? Is that a constant thing?
Every time we talk to them.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Why does that?
It's their favorite word.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Disengagement.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So let me ask you this. What would you say? Because I know there's some agents out there that would say, oh, you're in bed with the enemy. What are you doing? Why are you working with Zillow and blah, 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 blah. What would you say to them?
I mean, it all cashes in the bank, the money cashes in the bank. So
yeah.
So I don't know. The leads are coming in. Obviously, they're king of their industry, and so you either are with that and you go laughing all the way to the bank, or you're against it and it.
What about the splits though? Don't you guys pay like a huge percentage of your commission to Zillow Flex? So what is it? 45% now? Is that where they're at?
Anywhere between 15 to 40%, depending on the price point of the home. It depends on your market too. So every market is different. Ours is 15 to 40%.
Okay. And so if I'm paying 40% to Zillow, and so let's say I'm a team member here, so I'm paying 40% to Zillow, and then I assume you split with your team members after that.
Mm-hmm.
So how do the team members feel about that? I mean, do they have the option of whether or not to take the Zillow leads? Can they choose whether or not to take them?
Yeah, you have to qualify to be in our Zillow program first and foremost, and then you also have to be willing and able to handle that kind of a lead source. And so not all the agents on our team are in the Zillow program, Zillow Flex program. And so it has to be something that they actively are electing to do, knowing everything that goes along with it.
But it sounds like most of them are happy to do it, or not? I mean, what percentage?
Oh, absolutely, because they don't want to turn away business, especially in a market like today. Like, you don't want to turn away business. You're willing to drive the distance. You're willing to take the little penny leads, and it's not a market that we can be turning away business. So something is better than nothing.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I appreciate that. Okay, so Zillow Flex, and how many transactions a month do you suppose you're closing with those guys?
4.
Okay, so it's pretty decent. It's pretty substantial part of your business. Okay. All right, good stuff. Let's go to SOI. Let's talk about sphere of influence for a minute. What exactly are you doing? And by the way, for those of you that are watching, before Jocelyn goes into this, if you would like a list of 31 of our top 109 lead sources, type in "send me the lead sources" into your chat. If you'll type that into the chat now, then we will make sure that you get a copy of our list of the 31 lead sources we recommend to our coaching clients all over the US and Canada. So Jocelyn, talk about your sphere of influence. So first of all, you said a lot of your business is coming from your sphere, right? Mm-hmm. So of your 75 to 150 transactions a year, how many do you suppose are coming from sphere?
My personal business is probably 50 to 75%, if not more, actually. Majority, I think maybe 75 to 80% of my business is sphere. So we are only working on the stats of all that, so I don't have the exact numbers, but starting in 24, we'll have all those exact numbers.
And is that because you're going to be tracking it in Clubhouse Stat Tracker going forward?
Yeah, we've been working on. I screwed it up. I messed it up, so we got to get it reset so I could play appropriately. But
I love it.
I messed up my my tracking.
That's okay. That's all right. Now that you're going to be using Stat Tracker, I'm glad. And by the way, Gigi, we will get you those lead sources. Thank you. I see that you commented in the chat. We'll make sure I'll send you a DM here after we're done, and we'll make sure to get you those lead sources. That being said, Stat Tracker is awesome. I mean, and it'll give you the ability to really drill down on that and understand exactly, which lead sources are performing best, what the ROI is by lead source, what the ROI is by agent, and all that stuff. So it's really helpful. That said, what are you doing with your sphere of influence to get them to send you business and to do business with you?
So a lot of mine are, like I mentioned, the repeat investors. And so they have to know you, like you, trust you, and know that your advice is worth something. I'm really good at stepping into a home and telling them exactly what to fix or change about it in order to get the max amount of money out of it. So I'm able to give them their ARV, their after repair value, and tell them exactly what they need to do in order to get that amount. And so they step into the door, they do all the things that I say, and then they have a great result. The ones who don't listen to me don't have such a great result. So it's just a matter of building that relationship and that rapport, and them knowing and trusting that I have their best interest in mind, and that my advice is crucial. So
Okay.
they come back.
I understand that that's how you're delivering really, really high value customer service and giving them a great customer experience and great results and all that stuff. What I want to know is, let's take a guy that's been in your sphere of influence for a period of time. It's been a long time since you did a transaction with them. How are you getting those people to send you business? Are you doing client events? Are you calling them? Are you mailing to them? What do you do to engage your sphere of influence regularly and keep them, keep yourself top of mind, top of consciousness with them?
Yeah, we do 4 events a year. 2 of them are client specific events and 2 of them are community events. And so we definitely do our outreach surrounding those in order to have our touch points with those people. And then also, of course, the social media posting too. So I'm friends with a lot of those people. And so engaging with them via social media is a great way. So directly reaching out to them for the events, and then also through social media.
All right. Tell me about the events. What exactly are you doing for client events?
We did a photos with Santa, and we did that one as a community event. So we had it at a model home. We have a lot of new build construction here. And so there was a model home, a community that allowed us to use their model home to have Santa and Mrs. Claus sit there. And we did, cookies with Santa, and we had a photographer come in and take the photos with them. And then once they gave their information, they automatically sent them the photos with our logo around it, and then also with Santa in it as well. So that was a great community event that we did. And
did you gather their contact information during that?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, good.
Yeah. So we put that all over the place too. I did an Eventbrite link for that, so that way they could register through Eventbrite. So we gathered their information there, and then of course we pushed it out on all the social channels, and then posted it in a lot of the different community Facebook pages. So then that way it was going out to a lot of the local people.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. So, let's say, for example, at the event, I'm assuming you also grabbed their contact information while you were actually at the photos with Santa.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So with them, what did you do for follow-up after the event? Did you, especially the people that you didn't already know before?
Yep. Working on that.
Are you trying to tell me that you have not followed up since the event?
Yep.
How long ago was that event, Jocelyn?
We're working on it. That is something we're getting our systems in place to be able to do. So we are working on that.
Who's your club life coach?
Currently it's Dawn Sharp, because she's helping me with Stat Tracker and getting all those systems in place.
Dawn Sharp. I'm gonna have to hang on. I'm just gonna have to put a little comment in here. Coach.
I only just got a licensed assistant last week to help me out with things. So I've been trying to
do my
own business, run my team.
Yes, I can appreciate that. I as you know, hold on one second here. DAWN.
I know you can have excuses, or you can have whatever it is that you say all the time.
Were you talking like reasons or results? I wasn't going to say that, but actually maybe I was. So yeah, okay. So Coach Dawn Sharp, please discuss the importance of, hold on, following up post. Oops, hold on. I can't spell. I got fat fingers typing here. Post event with clients and leads from the event.
I told my team you were going to give me a hard time.
You think?
Yeah, you always do.
I would never give you a hard time.
No, it helps us grow. We've already implemented so many things that you've given me hard times over.
I love it. Hold on one second. Okay, so hold on. I got to make sure I spell things right. Okay, there we go. I just typed this into the chat. That could not wait because that is something. Listen, if there's one person that should be entitled to some value on this call, it's certainly you, Coach Jocelyn. And so we're going to make sure that Coach Don follows up with you and ensures that you are following up. So here's what I want to know. So people are watching this. We're about high accountability here at Club Wealth. So what I would like to know is, when are you going to follow up with these people that came to your client event?
Let me ask my assistant. When are we going to follow up with these people?
Tomorrow. No, today. What time is it where you're at today? Oh, great. How many people came?
76.
76. No problem. That's like an hour of phone calls. Not a problem. You've got this. Okay. So if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is, before you go to bed tonight, you're going to make these 75, 76 calls. Is that right?
No.
No. No. Did you say no? Did you?
No.
Jocelyn. See, I think you're failing to understand how this commitment process is going to work today. So when are you going to call them? When will you call them? Will you do it by tomorrow? Close of business?
I'll say by Friday.
By Friday. Close of business on Friday. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So you'll make that happen no matter what?
Sure.
Fantastic. Okay. Close the business, 75, 76 calls, whatever it is. Okay. That's great news. Now, when you follow up with one, what do you think you'll be saying?
I'll be inviting them to the next one, thanking them for coming and, asking if they got their pictures and if
Perfect.
they had gained weight from their cookies. No, I'm just joking.
All right. That's great news. Okay. So now what happens if you don't actually make the calls by Friday? What's the cost of non-completion?
Well, I'm tier 3, so it's $1,000 per tier. So that's $3,000 to a political party on the opposite of my choosing, with a note that states that I want frequent contributions and for them to follow up with me frequently.
I freaking love you for knowing all that.
You already have me on one of these contests, Michael. We're doing it. We're doing it consistently. You already have me on one.
Which one?
So you can't give me another one.
Oh, I can too. I can. So I'm giving you another one.
No, we have the daily huddles that we've launched, and we've been doing it every single day since you put me to it.
And how's that been going?
It's been going really well.
And helpful, hasn't it?
Yes, of course. See, I say when we implement what you say, we actually, things happen.
It actually works. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine why. I mean, what? I just thought people paid Michael because he was so good looking, but apparently it's because his device works. Okay. Anybody that can see the video right now knows that the first part of that is completely untrue because nobody's paying me for my looks. All right. So that being said,
he froze. Or did I freeze? Who froze? No, you didn't freeze. That's him.
Ash?
You froze.
Oh, I froze for a second there.
You froze.
Yeah.
So it means you're not. Yeah, I don't know what you said.
I hope I'm stable now. It looks like my internet connection might be unstable. They're doing some work next door. They're digging big holes in the ground. I don't know if that's what it is or not. But anyway.
Fixing your building that caught fire?
What's that?
Are they fixing your building that caught fire?
No, they're building 136 units next door to us, which is great because eventually I'll be able to build 180 on this property. Very excited about it. Cool. So that being said, I'm excited to hear that you're going to do that. And so now what I want to know, so you did your Santa event. Now you're going to follow up with the people. You'll have great results out of that. I'm confident of it. And the only way you get the results is if you do the follow-up. So I can't wait to hear. You'll probably get at least a transaction out of it. So I can't wait to hear the feedback. But tell me what else. So you've got 3 other events that you do each year. What are those other 3 events that you did this year?
This year we did, I'm trying to remember what all we did. We did putt-putt and snow cones.
Okay.
And that was another client event. I'm trying to remember what else we did.
So let me ask
I
this.
honestly can't
Generally
remember. Sorry.
that's okay. That's right. But generally speaking, are these expensive? Is it costing you a lot of money to do the client events?
I get sponsors to pay for things.
So you're getting your vendors
So
to pay for it.
yes,
Perfect. So it's really not costing you anything to do the client events.
for the most part. I do still have to contribute, but yes.
Okay, but it's not thousands of dollars.
No.
Okay. And are you getting business out of them?
Yes.
Consistently? A lot? How much? Can we give us an
I
idea?
don't know. We don't have our tracking in place, but I'll let you know next year.
Okay, fair enough. All right. But the point is you do know that they're working and so
Yes.
and your sphere of influence is resulting in a good chunk of your business. Are you doing anything else for your sphere, like a newsletter or anything like that? Are you doing any of that kind of stuff?
Not at the moment, no.
All right. I would suggest go to clubwealth.com/newsletter. Check those guys out. That's the company that I used for years. Austin's using them currently. I know there's other Club Wealth clients and coaches that are using them. I really believe in a physically mailed out newsletter to your sphere of influence. I think it's hugely valuable to your sphere of influence and will certainly help you, again, stay top of mind, top of consciousness. So,
Oh, I just remembered another one that we did.
yeah, please.
We did it like a few weeks ago. We did a watch party for a TV show that I'm on.
Oh, you're on a TV show. Tell us about that. What is it?
Yeah, so it's an Emmy nominated lifestyle and real estate TV show.
Uh-huh.
And so it airs in like local markets. They have 200 different local markets that they have realtors in. And so I am one of the hosts of the Indianapolis market of the central Indiana market. And so so I interviewed a custom builder and a restaurant. And so we did a watch party with all of their networks in our network, and we all got together and we did a watch party. So that counts as an event.
I love it. How many people showed up to that?
Did we have 45, 50 people, I think?
Really? That's awesome. Good for you. That's so cool. All right. And so, have you seen any results out of that particular, not necessarily the watch party, but out of the show as a whole?
We only just had our second episode. Well, actually, it hasn't even aired yet. It's airing on the 23rd, whatever date that is. So that'll be the second episode will air on the 23rd. And then I have to film another episode. So it airs every other month. We film every other month. It airs every other month.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And then
so building lots of relationships and connections because of it, because it's opening a lot of doors that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to before, or maybe wouldn't have had an easy as opportunity.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've heard that. And so that makes sense. So what do you now, if I'm correct, they don't pay you, you pay them to do these shows. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's correct.
What does that cost roughly to do a TV show like that?
For this one, because they have 5 realtors per episode, it's $1,000 per month.
$1,000 per month per agent that's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Or like 1097 or something like that. I can't remember the exact amount, but somewhere around there.
Sure. All right. That's super helpful. Okay. All right. And then before we talk about investors, can we talk about really quick? Well, let's back up. Is there anything else you're doing for your sphere?
Trying to remember. I don't know. I'm doing a lot of focusing on recruiting right now. So not as much focus on.
Okay, we're going to dive into recruiting in just a second. I can't wait to hear more about that. Let's talk for a moment about the new construction you're doing. So you're working with builders on selling their new homes. How did you get into that? Is it lucrative? Tell us about that.
So I have gone around and made connections with a lot of the communities, but I don't have any builders who are using me specifically to list their homes yet. Okay. But that is a goal for the future. So we want to do a lot of the custom build communities because the big name companies, they have like one person they want to work with and they're hard to break into and everything else. But the new build communities, a lot of times they don't have their marketing on point or anything like that. And so if we can go in and provide that value for them, do, a property tour of the home and showcase it and everything else, then we can really provide them that marketing piece that they're lacking. So it's just building those relationships and getting your foot in the door in those right opportunities. So.
Good. All right, then let's come back to investors.
Okay.
Let's talk about what you're doing with investors because you're having a lot of success with investors now. Are we talking mom and pop buying a house, once a year, or are we talking about, professional investors that are looking for a 65 cents on the dollar kind of a deal and they're buying, 5 or 6 houses a month kind of folks?
I definitely have access to the latter, but I don't have access to all the off market properties yet that those people are looking for. So the ones that I've been working with are the ones that are looking mostly on market, but I'm currently in the process of trying to get some off market stuff set up so that way I can provide those as a lead source and be able to really, 10x that, amplify that lead source or that niche.
Okay, so but the ones that you're working with now, describe them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I guess a lot of them are ones that, they bought properties with me many years ago, or they'll buy one, they'll fix it up, they'll flip it, they'll look for their next one. So it's just like one at a time. So they might do 3 or 4 a year. So are the ones that I'm doing now for the most part. I do have one client who's offloading all of his residential properties because he wants to start buying up multifamily units and apartment complexes and things. So I do have one client who's doing that. So that's an area that I'm learning. So in that way I can help him. So,
okay. So, but for the most part, but he's more the exception than the rule. For the most
right.
part, you're working with mom and pop that you've already worked with before. So are you doing anything special, like going out to your sphere of influence and saying, hey guys, let me help you invest in real estate. Let me show you how. Are you doing anything like that? Or are these people just coming to you cold?
They're like sign calls and just from people that I've had built up and sphere of influence and everything else. But I have seen people do those programs to where they do teach their people in their sphere how to buy one property a year. And so I would love to be able to tap into that and use that in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did a lot of that. It worked really well for me. Back in 2001, that's how Club Wealth actually got started. Before we were a coaching organization for real estate agents, we started off as it was my real estate clients that wanted to invest in real estate. And so what we'd do is we bought the name Club Wealth. It was 10 grand to buy the domain. I remember that. And back then, right, in 2001, it's a long time.
Wow.
Right? It's a good name. It was worth it. And so long story short, we started teaching these guys, we said, okay, look, if you want to be in our investor group, you got to sign a buyer agency agreement with us that guarantees that whatever you buy, you're going to buy it from us. And then we'll let you be part of our investor group. And so then we just taught them how to invest in real estate, how to buy rental properties, how to manage those properties. We played that cash flow game, like twice a month we'd come together and, we'd play cash flow quadrant or, the cash flow game by Robert Kiyosaki. And I would do an educational topic, that sort of thing. And that worked really, really well for us. And before you knew it, we had 80 to 100 people who were coming out to these things on a regular basis, and they were buying properties. And like you said, they were buying, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties a year from us. Multiply that by all these people, it was a ton of business. So it really worked well for us. So I love that you're doing that. We actually have, I don't know if you know this, but we're launching here. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow, but I know it's this week. We are launching a product. It's home buyer, home seller, home investor seminars in a box, basically. All right. So it's, and by the way, those events, are you doing those yet? Are you doing the 3, the home buyer, home seller, home investor seminars yet?
We've tried doing the home buyer ones before. We just didn't have the proper setup for it. So would like to revisit that in the future. Definitely.
When you say the proper setup, what do you mean by that?
Marketing partners, doing it in places that will also partner with you to push it out to their database and everything else. So,
yep, all that helps. I agree. Okay, that's good stuff. So I got to tell you, man, you got to do it. You've got to figure out a way to dial that in, Jocelyn, because it literally for us, it was. I would go 3 days a week. I would do, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So on Tuesday, I would teach buyer seminar. Wednesday would be sellers. Thursday would be investors. And then what I'd do is I'd do that in this town. And then the next week I'd go to the next town over. And the next week I'd go to the next town over. And then the next town the next week and so forth. And then 3 months later, I'd come back to the first one and do it again. And I get a whole new audience in the first one. And I just did this all over. And man, I got to tell you, it launched my business. It really helped me get a lot more business very, very quickly.
How are you promoting it?
I was doing everything from I'll tell you that one of the great ways was community, like Parks and Recs departments. I was working with Parks and Recs because they would promote it in their brochure as long as I opened it to everybody, right? And then I would do social media. I would do calling campaigns. I would take everybody in my sphere of influence, everybody in my database, not just my sphere, but everybody in my database. I was inviting all of them. And what that did was it added credibility, right? Because, oh my gosh, this guy teaches classes on selling, buying, and investing in real estate. He must know what he's doing, right? And so the cold leads that had come into my database that still weren't part of my real sphere of influence yet, but people are just kind of putting their toe in the water with us. They'd see that, and sometimes they'd get excited and come out to an event, and sometimes it just helped because they perceived me as being more of an expert advisor because I was doing the classes. So yeah, lots of ways to promote it. I would also get my title, escrow, mortgage, home inspectors. I'd get all my vendors to promote it as well. And that helped, and they didn't get a lot of traffic. They didn't bring, 40, 50 people each in. But here's the reality. If 4 people show up, I'm doing a buyer, like a buyer presentation to 4 people at one time instead of having to do 4 of them, right? And because I'm teaching a class, and by the way, I'd get more than 4 most of the time. I'd usually get anywhere from 10 to 25 people out to these things. And because I was doing this, all of a sudden they're seeing me on stage. I'm the expert, right? And so it just lends massive credibility. They begin to trust you. And guess what? Now you can go help them with their needs and take great care of them. And then they become a part of your sphere of influence. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. And then I remembered another way that I got a lot of those repeat investors that I currently have is actually through Facebook marketing. And so they came into my database through that. And because I did well with them the first time around, they came back time and time again.
So what was it when you say your Facebook marketing? What specifically were you marketing? Just different homes, or were you running ads for investors?
Lists? Yeah, homes lists for the area is what I was doing. I haven't done it in a year and a half, but that's what I was doing. So like Franklin Township homes for sale, or Southside Indianapolis homes for sale, or things like that. So, and then they would just click the link to inquire on them or get the list of the homes that were for sale, and because they were like, oh, this must be a different list than what I have access to already. So
how were you assembling the list? Were they basically, so they'd go to, I'm assuming, a website that's hosted by your CRM, is that right?
It was a landing page, yeah. So they would go to the landing page, which would then take them to a squeeze page, and then they would get into the CRM, and then from there, an auto text would go out, an auto email would go out initially, and then the next day another email would go out. And so, majority of the people that I worked with, when I was using that program, like 24 of my 43 transactions that I had one year came from that one lead source from me doing those lists. So
have you slowed down on those lists? Are you not doing them anymore?
Yeah, the company that I was doing them through was agent focused and not team focused. And so it just didn't line up anymore with what I was doing. And so I was trying to shift my focus to more team lead sources and things. But I definitely need to get back to doing that for it worked really well for personal. I was trying to find additional lead sources for team. So
yeah, I tell you what, man, I like the idea of you continuing to do that. I mean, if it was working, why stop? I mean, even though you're building a team, maybe you can just do that, bring in those leads, you handle those leads, give the team the rest of your leads or something. But
yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I like that it was attracting investors to you. I love investors. Again, I'm not in love with the ones that are doing, I want 65 cents on the dollar kind of deals. But the mom and pops out there just buying stuff that cash flows and they're going to keep it long term, take care. I love those guys. Absolutely love them because they're building wealth for themselves and for their posterity. And they're not a pain in the neck to deal with. The guys that want that killer deal, they're a little tougher to deal with.
I've got a few of those as well.
Do you really? Oh, geez. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's keep moving forward here. So social media, what are you doing on social media right now?
Currently not much. So what I was doing, I was doing the video tours and things like that of all the listings that I have and then posting that out. We were with KV Core, so we were boosting them and doing all of that. We just switched over to Lofty. And so
I love Lofty.
Yeah.
Oh, are you doing Black Hat?
Yes, we have our onboarding with them. I just have to fill out the paperwork.
Okay, listen, I love Black Hat. I got to give a shout out to Sawyer and Black Hat in the comments here. Hold on. Shout out to Sawyer. And Madison with Black Hat. Okay, so check this out. With Black Hat and PFL, Perfect Fit Loans. Hang on, Perfect Fit Loans. Okay, so let's talk about Black Hat for a second and what you're doing with this. Because first of all, obviously, I love Black Hat. So have you started using it? You're just doing your onboarding, so you actually have not been able to use it yet, correct?
Yeah, no, Sawyer even texted me this morning. He's like, "Hey, are you still doing it? You haven't filled out your paperwork yet." I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I've had this. So I need to fill out my paperwork." But yes,
You know what they
I
say,
will fill out my
if you
paperwork.
don't have an assistant,
Well, I just got one. I'm training her.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I
Okay.
know.
But Black Hat, man, I love it. Like Dawn Sharp. Well, your coach is using Black Hat. You need to talk to Dawn about Black Hat. It's crushing for her right now. Actually, she's using the voice AI right now as well. And so that's really great news. All right, and you're using Lofty CRM. So the transition, well, so hold on. Are you using the Black Hat version of it?
We are not using anything Black Hat yet because I haven't done my paperwork.
Okay. Have you set up your Lofty yet?
My director of operations did.
Okay, so here's what you can do. When you do this, I'm going to recommend that you do it through Black Hat. Now, here's the deal.
Yeah, we're getting a seat in there.
Okay, I was going to say I would run your whole team's CRM through there. That's what Austin does. There's no need to have a separate instance of Lofty if you just use theirs. And I can't remember the cost, but it's a lot less than doing your team one, because we have the enterprise version. So what happens though is that they can set it up exactly like Austin is set up. And it's like that. It's literally a push of a button, and all of a sudden you have all the same, the same stages, the same tagging conventions. All that stuff's already done. All the drip campaigns, the 730 plan, all that's all done, and it'll work with like Black Hat. And if you ever decide to leave Black Hat, it's not a problem. You can take your data with you. You can take all that with you. But it would save you money, and more important, not just about the monthly money, but the big thing that it would save you is the setup headache. It's a lot of work to set up a CRM. I mean, it's a ton. And you're never going to be done. You're always going to be tweaking your CRM and adjusting and adding to it and cleaning stuff up and all that. But man, I love that you're using Lofty. I think it's a fantastic CRM. So, and how long have you had it now?
Weeks.
Couple of weeks. So you really haven't done much. You haven't set up much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Make your onboarding call with Sawyer. You need to talk to him about that. Just
Yep.
have that conversation with him. See if you can get him to let you use their version. Well, I'm sure they will. I mean, you get it with Black Hat.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's great news. That gives you the AI component. He can also talk to you about the voice AI, which you want a real unfair advantage. I'm going to share something that I haven't shared anywhere, and I don't know who's watching. I'm going to take a chance here and hope that nobody that's watching is going to tell the world this. But I'll tell you what Austin's doing on December 31st and January 1st. Guess what's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen?
All the expired listings.
A whole bunch of expired listings are going to come on the market. They're going to expire on the 31st and the 1st. And so he's using our voice AI to call every single one of them in the first 5 minutes. And you think about that. You think about being able to make that many phone calls instantly first 5 minutes. How many hand raisers is he going to get in 5 minutes? Because they had a conversation with AI that you can't even tell is a computer half the time. It sounds like a real person. So you might talk to Sawyer about that too and say, hey man, how can I get in on this?
Absolutely. Yeah,
So-
we're looking forward to it. We heard you play the video or the message at BSM. And so ever
man.
since
And
then,
it was-
we were like,
Oh, it was terrible then too. It's so much better now. I mean, don't get me wrong, it worked then, but it was brutal. It was awkward. It was learning. I mean, it's still not perfect. AI is still not perfect, but man, I got to tell you, the AI is advancing and getting better so fast right now. I mean, it's insane how fast it's getting better. Okay, so let's move on to recruiting. Let's talk about your recruiting efforts for a minute. What are you doing for recruiting? You've got 14 agents on your team. First of all, congratulations, great milestone. How'd you get there? How'd you get these 14 agents? I mean, you're solo. You didn't even have an assistant for a long time. I mean, how'd you find the time to even make the calls or do whatever it was that you did to get them in there?
That's why I didn't get all the things done that you've been harping on me about, because I didn't have the time. So, no, I was focused on building my team and doing all those things. So some other things went by the wayside because I didn't have the support and the help that I needed to have. So,
Yeah.
taking the steps now to make sure that all the areas are covered, because we definitely want to scale massively in 2024. We have very, very, very lofty goals for 24. So, we're laying all the foundation and the groundwork to be able to really, really amplify. We want to bring on 40 agents in 2024.
Now, are we talking net agents, or you want to recruit 40 and keep 10? So
we want to end the year with like 50 agents.
Okay.
On our team.
So you want to add a net, call it 40 agents, right? And so to do that, you're going to need to recruit about 160 agents to keep a net 40 agents. That's just national statistic there. And so what's your plan? How are you going to do that?
I've been using Indeed. So I've been doing about 2 to 3 interviews per week with Indeed, sometimes more, just depends.
How are you getting those? Hold on. I want you to be very specific about the logistics of, I've got Indeed. How do I use it to get to, I've got 2 people I'm meeting with?
Yeah, they have a template in there. So you just simply use their template and you edit it to fit you and your team. And then you send that out. And so I'm currently using the free ad that they have. And so just using that one, and then people inquire. And then from that point, then I send them an invitation to meet. So if they're unlicensed, then I'm doing an invitation to meet virtually. If they're licensed, I'm doing an invitation to meet in person. Unless I look at of course, I social media stalk too. So unless I look up their social media and their resume and everything else, and if I think that they would be a good fit to go immediately, then I'll offer them in person too. So,
I love it.
Or if they say that they're in school currently already, then I'll do in person.
Okay, that's good. And so are you doing the reverse search there?
We just learned about the reverse search on the mastermind call last week. And so we were in there looking at that, but it doesn't give like their email and their phone number when we're doing it. So maybe we're doing something wrong.
But you're on their paid platform, right?
We just upgraded to be able to do it. Yes, I was not on the paid platform before.
With the paid platform, you should be able to get the phone numbers.
Okay. So we just need to figure that out then.
And here's the other thing. Even if you can't, then I'll tell you what a lot of people do, like what Jason Lash does. In fact, I just had him on for an interview earlier today. One of the things you can do is you just Google their name and just Google whatever their name is, real estate. If they're an experienced agent, that's coming up. And if they're not an experienced agent, if they're new and just getting a license, you just Google their name and just track them down. And, it's you could go so far as to have a skip trace company do it for you or something like that, or a VA do it for you. Lots of them can do that too. By the way, Sawyer makes a good point. Sawyer and Madison both just commented. Sawyer said that Black Hat is a great way to utilize conversion technologies to make the most of your lead sources. Completely agree, Sawyer. Thank you for that. Okay, so I would do the reverse search on Indeed. I would add that to what you're doing with Indeed right now. But you said you're already getting at least like 2 interviews a week out of Indeed. Is that right?
2 to 4.
2 to 4. That's really good. Okay, good. And so how are you converting these? So you go, you meet with them. What does that meeting look like? First of all, where does it happen? And then what does it look like?
Right here in our office. And then just share all the value of what our team is doing and the value add that we have, and what sets us apart from everybody else, and just share what our plans are for the future and what we're doing in order to make sure that happens, and to help them be as successful as they want to be, find out what their goals are, and just let them know that we can help them accomplish that.
Okay, so then do you go for the close right there after you're done doing that? Do you say, do you want to join the team?
Why would I not? Yeah, I do.
Good. Perfect. Yeah. Well, and I say this because I think a lot of team leaders are afraid to do that. It's kind of like going on a listing appointment and being afraid to ask for the business, or meeting with a buyer and being afraid to say, hey, do you want to make an offer on it? Like, but people fail to do that. So I'm excited to hear that you're doing it. How long ago was it just you? So I want to know in what period of time did you grow these 14 agents on your team?
Well, I've been with Club Wealth for 2.5 years. And when I came with you all, I had only had 1 agent on my team. I had just started my team and had 1 agent. And I was by myself except for a transaction coordinator. And I had only just hired her like the previous year. And so I was completely basically by myself, me, a TC, and one agent who hadn't even done a single transaction yet, or maybe she had done one by that point.
And now you're at 14.
Yeah, and 14, like, yeah, so and they're more productive agents than they were. So we've cycled through, of course, as always happens, but we might be at 15 now. I think we're at 15 now, since technically I just hired an assistant, so she's licensed. But anyway,
Yeah, okay.
and that's not even counting me either. So if you count me, then
you're at 16.
whatever. So
and counting.
And counting.
Okay.
So yeah, I've got another appointment with somebody on Thursday who's just one test away from getting his license, and then he's already coming on board. So he wants to meet up to talk about game plan and getting in. So we're streamlining the onboarding process too. So I've got my director of operations laying out a solid onboarding process. So then that way it's a lot easier for them to come in and get all the systems up and running, because it's so many systems, so many things. You don't realize how many like tools and systems and things there are until you're in it, and you're just like, what's the expression, getting hit with a fire hose or whatever it is.
Yeah, you're trying to drink from a fire hose. Yeah, I get it. Well, okay, so speaking of making that easier, I'm assuming you're planning on using Club Wealth University for that onboarding process. If you're not already, I would encourage you to reach out to the help desk, have them walk you through the onboarding process, because literally you can drag and drop modules from Austin, from Lee, from Jason Lash, from a whole bunch of our coaches and clients that put modules in there. Like Jason has a really great FSBO class. Like if you want your new agents to learn how to do FSBOs, you drag and drop that in. Now you could literally, in a matter of maybe 2 to 3 hours tops, probably 2 hours, you could literally create your onboarding course inside Club Wealth University just by dragging and dropping everybody else's stuff. And then when you have time and you feel like it, yeah, if you want to go ahead and go in and change those modules out to update them to be your videos or your modules, well, you can do that. But in the meantime, you could have a world-class onboarding program like that. I
was in there looking around at your world-class buyer agent one, because I taught today on buyer agent, like the buyer appointment. Yeah. So I was in there looking at that. So it's a phenomenal resource to have.
Yeah, you can drag and drop those modules into your training as well. Yes.
That's fun.
I'm telling you, like literally I think there's over 3,000 videos, and then now there might be 4. We might be over 4,000. Don't quote me on that, but okay. I know we're over 3. I think we might.
So what happens if you want to drag just like one of the videos from there, not like the whole thing? Can you do that or no? Because that's what I was trying to access.
Yeah, you don't drag the whole course over, or you can, but you don't need to drag the whole course over. You just drag one module from the course. So you don't even have to drag a whole section. You can just say, I want this module, and each module would be like one video and the questions that go along with that video. And then there's a test for a lot of them, right? So if there's a quiz question, it would have all the quiz questions built in there as well. And then, of course, Club Wealth University will tell you and your team members how they did on the test, and you'll know, hey, so-and-so did these modules, took these tests, and here's how they scored. And you can even tell it, hey, I don't want you to be able to move forward in this process until you've completed these videos and scored at least this well on the test.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
It won't do all of the work for you, but it'll do about 80% of it. So,
yeah, we're all about streamlining and R&D. We want to R&D.
Yeah, that's smart.
And that's what duplicate.
What Austin did, he just dragged and dropped everybody's stuff. I think his people still listen to Jason Lash's FSBO video.
Yeah.
And he did Austin did an expired one. I mean, anyway, long story short, go check it out. It's super helpful. Okay. So you're going to recruit 160 people in the next 12 months, right? In order to get to the net 40.
You said those numbers. I did
say those numbers. Are you saying you're retaining more than 25% currently?
That's the goal and the hope and what our numbers have been. So
the reason I bring this up is because in order to be really, really successful, and in order to avoid having, and let me back up. Let me back up. How's your team organized? Are you doing, everybody works with buyers and sellers? Are you doing, hey, we have different types of agents. We've got, our C agents, our B agents, and our A agents, and they each operate at different levels? Or what are you doing?
Yes. Yeah. So we're not in a market that we can really kind of pick and choose one or the other. So I tried just doing listings for a little while, and there just comes to a point where you can't be picky. And so you take what you can get in this market. So that's my personal and professional opinion. And so I don't want to limit somebody from being able to excel. I know that, when you specialize in something, you get better at that area and everything else. So currently we have a lot of buyer's agents, but that's just because they haven't had the listing opportunities. But we are planning on doing leads like candy.
Love
And
leads
then-
like candy. Yeah.
Yep. And then we're going to do a few of the other listing resources. So we do have espresso agent that we're getting into our ponds. So they're working on the pond right now. So we're working on all those lead sources to provide them more opportunities to get in front of more listings. They just haven't had the opportunity. So because, Zillow Flex is a big lead source of ours, that's a lot of buyers. And so most of the time, the way the listing comes is if the buyer comes with a listing as well. So we've had a lot of one-offs.
Okay.
But yes, majority of them are buyers agents.
But with your agents, do you segment your agents by, okay, so I've got a casual agent over here who's only going to show up, once every 3, 4, 5 weeks. And I've got a really super aggressive agent over here that's in here every day, 6:30. They're prospecting from 8 o'clock till noon, they're super, super, super focused and driven. Do you have some kind of a hierarchy there with the different agent types on your team?
Yeah, we're building that out. So we are building out the different structures, the different tiers, essentially. So that way we can have a tiered team system in addition to tiered leads.
Yeah, that's
Am I
perfect.
boring you? You keep yawning. I know you're
I guess
by covering your mouth. So you
not
need to drink some energy too. I know you don't drink caffeine, but you need to
me
drink
out
some
on it
energy
now.
too.
I gotta stand up because it's not that. It's just like, I just got done eating a big freaking lunch. I had chicken for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can have what is it, reasons or results, right, Michael? Wake up.
It's the 3 hours of sleep. It's the workout this morning. I'm tired.
Why 3 hours of sleep? You need more sleep. You're gonna get cancer.
What? Are you serious? How many hours of sleep?
Yes, you need to take care of yourself, Michael. Do you not take care of yourself?
Wait,
you have to sleep.
Wait, you're saying if I don't get more than 3 hours of sleep, I'm going to get cancer?
If you keep limiting your body has to be able to regenerate and recoup and recover.
Yeah, you're right. I'm feeling it today. Yeah.
Yeah, you need more sleep.
How much sleep do you think a person needs?
What do they say? At least 6 hours, right? On average, or 5 hours, at least, I can't remember what they say.
I'm normally 5 hours.
It's more than 3.
Yeah. No, I'm normally 5. I just didn't sleep well last night. It was because we're in Bonnie Lake right now. I'm not in Leavenworth. I want to be in Leavenworth, and I want to go home. I want to be my Tara. Well, because the kids are over here in the Bonnie Lake house, and Tara always refers to it as home, but it's like, no, our home is Leavenworth. That's in the cabin we bought. That's where we live. And for the beds there is more comfortable. So anyway, no excuses. I'm just tired. Anyway, that being said.
I'm just giving you a hard time because you like to give me a hard time, so I'm just giving it right back to you.
I don't blame you. Give me a hard time. Bring it, sister. No, I'm totally okay with it. Okay, Steve's like, hold on, Steve. Which is it, Steve? You're talking about, Steve. Are you saying that you like the tiered approach, or are you saying something about the sleep? Help me out, Steve. Give me a little more context behind what you're saying. By the way, I love Steve Hawks. He's always really active in the Facebook group too, and thank you for that, Steve. All right, so let's go back, Jocelyn. I want to touch more on this whole team thing, because by building out a tiered system, you can retain a higher percentage of agents. If you don't have a tiered system, you're going to go through a lot more agents. You're going to have about 25% retention in year 1. And the reason I bring that up is because you don't want to keep turkeys on your team. You need eagles on your team. But if you have a tiered system, you can have the Navy SEAL agents, and you can also have the casual agents, and you can have the ones that are in between. You just give them different stuff, right? The Navy SEALs, you're giving them the most leads, the best opportunities, all that stuff. The casual agents, you're not giving them leads, but you might give them access to the pond. You might give them some of that other stuff. But
that's why I was asking you those questions on the call last week about the different, the ABC agents and whatever else, is because we're building that out. And so in order to be able to, because I want to reward those who are showing up and doing the things, doing the actions and the activities. And so I want to reward them with better lead sources, higher converting leads, higher price points and things like that. So I want to reward the agents who are doing the things.
Yeah,
so
as you should. It's a meritocracy, right? This isn't you're not entitled to our leads. You're not entitled to anything. It's you get what you earn. And the more agents work hard and earn stuff, the more you should feed them. I agree with that. So what else are you doing for recruiting besides Indeed? What are some other things you're doing for recruiting?
I was doing LinkedIn. I was using My Linked Solutions that you all
Yeah, they
recommended
did a
in
great
one of
job for a long time. How are they doing now?
I cut them off back in May. I paused it.
Was
I
it
didn't
because they
cancel it.
weren't
I paused
performing
it.
or what?
No, it was because I know you got on me the other day about this, but I paused my recruiting efforts for a little bit because I had to figure out what kind of agent that I wanted. And so I didn't want to keep just like blanket pulling in people. I needed to figure out my agent avatar and what I wanted our team to be and what I wanted like the culture to look like and everything else. And so I really needed to figure that out. And so I paused it because I didn't see any point in continuing when I didn't know where I was going. And so now we know where we're going, but I'm doing the LinkedIn, I'm doing the Indeed route for now, but the LinkedIn route did really work. And you can tell them exactly what it is you're looking for, and they can bring those people to you and it'll book it directly into your what?
Did you just say, listen, first of all, I love you, Jocelyn. And look, I have a ton of respect for you, but I'm going to beat you next time I see you. I just want
I
to be
told my team you were going to murder me today. I told my team that. I legit told them that this morning on the huddle. I told them that you were going to murder me today because that's just what you do.
Yep, you were right. You were right. So, dude, you had this lead source for recruiting that was working well in MyLink Solutions, right? And by the way, for those of you that want to access those guys, go to clubwealth.com / is it LinkedIn or MyLink Solution to get the?
I don't know. No, it's like my linked solution or something like that.
Yeah, go to clubwealth.com.
I don't even know if the link is valid anymore. I don't know. You need to give us a list of all the resources that you have so that way we know.
Good point, because you guys get a discount with all that stuff. But here's the point. Yep. If just reach out to our office, you guys can just go to clubwealthhelp.com and ask them, just that'll put you in a Zoom call with my team and just say, hey, I need the discount link for MyLink Solutions. But what I'm getting at, Jocelyn, Coach Jocelyn, is you had this recruiting lead source that was working well. You paused it. Oh, I can't believe you paused it. Freaking me out. And then months later, when you're back into recruiting, you haven't started it back up again. What are you thinking?
I only just started back up with recruiting at the end of November.
It's the end of December. It's been a whole month.
Yeah.
What do you have to do to turn it back on? Call them up and say, turn it back on?
I will when I'm ready.
What is it you're concerned about? Are you concerned that you're going to get too many leads and it's going to overwhelm you, or what's the backside of that?
Well, I mean, my husband just left his, career to come and be my director of operations. So financially, we are being very strategic with where we spend our money right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I'm being very strategic about it and spending money in a very smart way.
So that's legitimate. That's a legitimate reason. Okay. So I thought you were just going to say, well, I just don't have time, or not having time is a lame freaking excuse.
It was a financial decision
for it. That is a very legitimate reason, right? Like that's different. I get that. I'm okay with that. And I hope you guys are watching this, because watch this. I want everybody to hear this. Just because something works, just because it's helpful, does not mean it's a good expense today, right? So I love that you're being judicious about where you're spending your money. I'm assuming you're watching your P&L on a regular basis. You must be. And Dawn's pretty good about P&L, if I'm correct.
Yeah, she's very good about it.
Yeah. So that's really good. In fact, I was just having this conversation with Jason today. Donnie is Jason's coach, right? Donnie Morrow.
Yeah.
And Donnie told Jason on their coaching call this morning, just before our Club Wealth TV episode, he says, listen, you've got to cut $3,000 out of your budget per month without impacting coaching or lead flow. Figure it out. And Jason's like, well, I got to $600. I don't know how I'm going to get to the other freaking $2,400. But it might mean he has to cut something out in his personal life. And, who knows where that's going to come from. But these are the hard decisions. And, to your point, you've got this recruiting source that works in MyLink Solutions, but it's not the budget right now. Hey, listen, this is December 2023. And let me tell you, if you're not tightening the belt right now, then and I'm talking to everybody watching right now. If you're not tightening your belt in some places right now, you ought to be. You need to really be thinking about, I've got to come into 24 with some reserves. I got to come into 24 without fear of going bankrupt. I got to know that I can charge forth, make the phone calls I need to make, get the people recruiting that I need to recruit. And I can't be worried about, I'm spending more than I'm bringing in, right? I've got to have that reserve budget, because here's what I think is going to happen. And actually, before I tell you what I think, Dawn will tell you the same thing that I'm going to tell you. but I want to hear what Jocelyn, you have to say. What do you think is going to happen in 2024? Do you think that we're going to see more or less business per agent?
Oh, more business per agent because there's going to be less agents
I
for
agree.
sure.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at.
The only way to fail is to quit.
I agree, 100%. 100%. If you just show up, if you just do the work, the money will follow. Go ahead. Are you looking for me? Okay, sorry. If you just do the work, the money will follow. I 100% agree, because so many agents have gotten out of the business, and we're already seeing interest rates dropping. Interest rates are doing really well right now, by the way. I don't know if you've talked to Madison about this, but literally we're seeing owner-occupied rates locking in right now in the 5s. We're seeing non-owner-occupieds in the 6s. We've seen DSCR loans. Are you doing DSCR on anything? Are you buying investment?
Not yet, but we want to.
Oh my gosh, DSCR, crazy debt service coverage ratio loans, right? Where the property qualifies, not the actual borrower. And we've seen DSCR pricing on investment properties as low and even lower than some of the conforming investor loans that are out there. Dude, it's crazy what's happening in the world of investing in real estate right now, from a finances side of it, from a lending side of it. And so, all right, that being said, I know that you came prepared, and I want to be respectful of your time, so I'm going to do this quickly. I know that you came prepared with a couple of questions for me. So tell me what your questions are for me. And I have a feeling, knowing that you knew what I was going to do when you came on this call, I have a feeling that your questions for me probably aren't going to be very easy ones. They're going to probably put me in on a little bit of the hot seat. So let's see what you got. And I have no idea, Wake, folks. I've not asked her. She's not told me ahead of time what she's going to ask me. She just came prepared to grill me. So what do you got?
Yeah. So my husband is a huge Michael fan.
Oh, I love him already. What a great guy. He must be intelligent.
He has a question for you.
Okay.
So his question is, what is the essential mindset shift needed for agents to maximize their production and crush their loftiest goals?
Okay. Well, that's super simple. Thinking that you can control the outcome is the stupidest thing you can do in 2024. You don't control the outcome. You only control the input. The only thing you have control over is what you do on a daily basis. That's it. You don't control the rest. And so what it really comes down to is your habits will define your 2024. End of story. And it doesn't matter if you're motivated on a daily basis or not. It doesn't matter if you're prepared, if you've got the perfect systems, if you got the perfect team. What matters is, what are you going to get your butt up and do every single day? And that's it. Nothing else.
So on that note, then what advice would you have for, let's say, a brand new agent just starting out, or a new agent on a team? What should I know you've already done all your daily habits for success and all those fun things, but just something quick that you can share.
I'm going to quote Jason Lash from this morning's Club Wealth TV. What Jason suggested was that literally it's the 4x4, right? We're going to do 4 hours a day of making calls at a minimum, right? That's minimum. I'm looking at next door to me here. There's Austin's got his team over there. And those guys, they asked me today, they're like, can we get a key to the office? I'm like, what do you need a key to the office for? Well, because we want to stay until 8:00 and keep prospecting. These two kids, they're free, they're game on. So 4 hours minimum of calling per day. And then the other 4 is 4 open houses a week. 4 hours of calling per day, 4 open houses a week. Guys, anybody that does those two things consistently all year long in 24 is going to have a great year. Period. That's all you got to do. Don't overcomplicate it. Start with that.
So then how many, so if they're doing 4 hours, about on average of how many calls would that be if they're just using a single line dialer?
I'm super glad you asked that question. I would not be concerned about the number of calls. All I would do is I would make sure that I'm making calls as quickly and efficiently as possible. And the one number that I care about most, the one thing, now I'm going to track my number of calls because I need to understand my numbers and all that in Stat Tracker, right? But the one number that's the most important is, how many appointments do I set every day? Nothing else matters. If I can just place my entire focus on how many appointments I set every single day, the rest will work itself out. But you got to get those appointments. You have to get the appointments. And too often when people get focused on how many calls they make, what do? They get somebody on the phone and they're not looking for the opportunity to get an appointment. Instead, they're just like, okay, I got to hurry and get off this call so I can make the next call, right? But if they'll instead focus on, I have to get appointments, their intention is very focused on getting the appointment, then guess what? When those opportunities appear, they'll recognize the opportunity. Their reticular activator will kick in and they'll be like, oh my gosh, there's an opportunity for an appointment, and they'll actually set the appointment.
Okay. And then the other question I have is like best advice for a team leader who's looking to scale massively.
Cut back in, okay, first of all, cut back in every area of your life that you can possibly cut back, and devote a high percentage of your resources to recruiting. And when I say recruiting, like for you, if I'm talking to you, Jocelyn, I would say, okay, I would look at what's it going to cost me to get MyLink Solutions as an example. And I'm only saying this to you because you already know what your results are from that particular lead source. I'm not telling everybody else they should go get that lead source. I'm just saying that you already know this is a lead source that worked for you in the past, and you know how to make it work. And you know, so that's an easy known quantity for you. So I would look at, well, what's that lead source going to cost me? And then I'd look at, okay, what can I cut to pay for that? Can I get rid of lattes? Can I stop drinking lattes? Can I get rid of cable TV? Can I get rid of, the car that has a payment on it and trade that in for something I can just pay cash for and no longer have a car payment? And understand that all of this is temporary. None of this is permanent, right? And here's how temporary it is. And this is, I freaking love you for asking this question. And Jocelyn, you're super smart. You understand this. And I think most of the people watching will understand this as well. Here's the game. The game is, cut back in my personal life as much as I can, invest in my business, get my business cranking and kicking off a ton of cash, take the cash that my business kicks off, go invest in real estate so that my real estate then can support my lifestyle. And I only allow my lifestyle to grow to the extent that my real estate investment holdings, or a portion of the cash flow thereof, for us, it's 30%, right? A portion of that cash flow can then pay for my lifestyle, and my lifestyle doesn't get to grow beyond my investment properties. That's what I would do. That's the short or the long answer to your very short question. But here's the thing. The reality is, if you're doing all of that, first of all, it's going to be hard for the first year or two. It's going to be hard, right? It's not going to be easy. But guess what? By the time, Jocelyn, you're half my age at best. I mean,
no, we talked about this too. I'm a lot older than you think I am.
Whatever.
I'm only like 10 years younger than you, Michael.
Okay, right. Whatever. All right. Anyway, I don't believe you. But that being said, by the time you're an old crusty person like I am, guess what? Okay, let's just, for the sake of argument, let's say you're only 10 years younger than me. Okay. In the next 10 years, you can't imagine the lifestyle you can create for yourself in the next 10 years if you'll suck it up in the next 2. That's what I know you're doing it. I'm saying this for everyone's benefit because, Jocelyn, I know you're doing this. And if people would just embrace this, they can set themselves up for a future that they can't even imagine. Look at Wendy Whedon, for example. Look at how well he and Chad have done with their investing. And they're starting to hold more. Look at Lee Garland, Donnie Mara. Donnie bought 3 yesterday. You look at everybody in Club Wealth that's starting to do this, and all of a sudden they're having great success with it because they're buying for cash flow. And they're holding these things long term. And that's what your active income is for. So now you want to start talking about how else can I build my team? Think about this. What if you're teaching your team to do the same thing? What if you're helping your team to do the same thing? What if you're identifying opportunities for your team to do the same thing, which, by the way, also increases your visibility in the marketplace because now your team is buying more properties. They're buying more properties, which means you got more signs out there. You got more success out there. Success begets success. Momentum begets momentum. I mean, it all feeds on itself. And it grows exponentially. So that's what I would do. The other thing that I would do is addition through subtraction. Get rid of those cancers on the team as quickly as possible. Second, you realize somebody's cancerous on your team, and I'm not talking about like literally they have cancer. Don't fire people because they have cancer. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, if somebody's toxic on your team, they got to go right freaking now. And I'll tell you, it's painful. We've done this with coaches in Club Wealth. As you know, you've probably seen, I don't know if have we fired coaches since you've been with us?
I don't know.
Okay, but I can tell you that we've fired, probably 12 to 15 coaches in the last decade. And there were good reasons for all of it. And I'll tell you that letting go of the wrong ones has opened the door for the right ones, and it's allowed the right ones to want to stay. And it's been very necessary, but we call it addition through subtraction. So that would be my other key component, because if your culture is not right on your team, it won't matter how much recruiting you do. You'll never be able to grow because you'll be a constant revolving door. So
we don't want that.
No. So that being said, Coach Josh, what would the last say? If you got the last word today, what would you like everybody watching today to know? What can they do to have the best 2024 possible?
I would say mindset. It's all about a mindset, So if you think that we're in a bad market, then we're in a bad market. If you think we're in a great market, then we're in a great market. And so what you think, like your thoughts become your actions become your words become your way of life. And so just simply switch your mindset and you'll switch your entire trajectory of 2024.
I love it. That is fantastic. Okay, so now, Jocelyn, you handle all of Indiana. I'm sure there's people on here that are like, wow, she's really got her stuff together. I would love to get in touch with her, pick her brain, maybe even send her a referral once in a while. How do they get in touch with you?
Well, I mean, you can Google Realtor Jocelyn Deal. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube. You can call me, email me, text me. You can, all those things. So I don't know. What method do you want me to tell them?
Anything you want to tell them. Any number you want to give them. Anything you want to tell
them. Okay. So cell phone is 317-777-1367. Email is jocelyn@eliteiconteam.com. Our website's eliteiconteam.com. YouTube is that. Facebook, I'm easy to find. So
perfect.
Yes, my name is real. I am Deal. It's a married name. I didn't get it for real estate purposes. Deal.
Dude, I love it. That's awesome. And by the way, Adam Rodriguez was mentioning, he's like, hire slow, fire fast. And actually, Adam, I would go a different direction with that. I would suggest, actually, hang on, I'm going to change this. I love that comment. I'm going to hit wow on that comment. And the reason why is because I'm a hire fast, fire fast kind of guy. You need to hire people as fast as you can, and you need to fire them fast too. That being said, Jocelyn, if I could ask you one favor, could you tell everybody watching today why in the world would they want to come to a Club Wealth half-day event?
Oh, because, I mean, why would you not want to learn from this guy, right? Best of the best. You got to learn from him because what he says is, I mean, you may not like it, but if you do it, then you'll have massive success. And so just implement what he says. You may not like him either, but, just listen to what he says and you'll have success. So if you have any sort of goals or dreams for 2024, then you definitely need to go because you need to learn how to implement them. You need to learn what is working, what has worked, what's been tried and true. Don't reinvent the wheel. Find what somebody else is doing that has proven success and do it. That's all there is to it. Yeah. It's just a numbers game.
Super smart. I love that you said that because so many people take advice from people that have no business giving advice, right? That's like, hey, I'm going to take marital advice from that guy that's been divorced 5 times. No, bad move, dude. Don't do that. Like, that's not going to get you where you want to go. That's one of the things I love about Club Wealth is that, like Jocelyn, you're a coach for Club Wealth. You're in tier 3, which means you're coaching people in tier 2. You were just in tier 2, which means you know what they're going through. You just went through it and you figured out how to get past it. Who better to teach them how to get past it? And your coach is in tier 4. Who better to teach you how to get into tier 4 than working with somebody who was just where you are today, last year or the year before that, right? And so I love hearing you say that. All right, last question for you, Jocelyn. Club Wealth's big events. I know you're coming to Listing Agent Boot Camp in April in Denver, Colorado. Sorry, I had to think about that for a second. Denver, Colorado. Why the big events? Why go to there's Listing Agent Boot Camp in the spring and Business Strategy Mastermind Conference in the fall. Why should someone go to those events?
So I've been to a lot of conferences in my existence. The first conference that I ever came to of you all's was Business Strategy Mastermind the year before last. So it was when y'all were in Anaheim, and it was a 2-day thing and all day, 12 hours each day. It was all day thing. I got more from those 2 days than I got in like an entire week at a conference that I had literally just gone to 2 weeks prior. And so like the amount of knowledge that you can gain from going, and they're specific to the things that you're wanting to focus on too. So even though it's called Listing Agent Boot Camp, if you're a buyer's agent, come. There's going to be things that are available for you. If you're a team leader, come. Bring your team. They do they don't allow like recruiting from the events. And so you can safely bring your team and not have to worry about somebody else trying to poach them. But there's going to be things that are applicable to everyone, regardless of where you are in your career and where you want to be in your career. And so just come and look at the book in advance to find out where you want to spend your breakout sessions and map it out and go and learn and grow. And it's amazing. They are the best conferences that I've ever been to. So.
What a great testimonial for those. I appreciate that a lot. And, the people are, the classes are amazing. And I'll tell you, I really believe the classes will change your business, but the people, they'll change your life. I mean, there's the people at these events, they're like Jocelyn. They're like you, they're good people. They're the kind of people I want my kids around. My kids come to the events. And I think honestly, that the people at Club Wealth events are a large part of the reason why my kids are as successful as they are. Because they've grown up around these people their whole lives, and it's people that care about you that don't have to, and they share what really is working and what's not working. And it's just, anyway, that being said,
they completely open their playbook, and it's amazing too. And the relationships that are developed too. So here's an example. I know you got to go, but at the VIP dinner from BSM last time, I was sitting next to Javier, which is somebody that, I wouldn't have ever, engaged with him in another, because we're not in the same companies, we're not in the same market, anything else. So it gave me an opportunity to sit next to him, and we were talking and just, finding out about each other and everything else. And then on the mastermind last week, he messages me and he's like, "Hey, I've got a referral for you." And I'm like, "Cool." So now I'm going to be listing a house in, my hometown in a few weeks because of somebody that I took the time to get to know and build a relationship with through coming to an event of you all's. So it's relationship building and everything else. So.
I love hearing that. I really, 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 really love hearing when referrals are going back and forth between Club Wealth members. That's awesome. Well, Coach Jocelyn, is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up today?
Only you can stop you. That's it. I don't know.
I love it. Good stuff. On that note, everybody, I want to thank you for joining us for Club Wealth TV today. Please comment in the post, in the Facebook post, and let Jocelyn know how you felt about what you learned today. If you'd like that lead sources list, go ahead and type in "send me the lead sources," and we'll send you a list of 31 of our best lead sources. Just let us know what market you're in also. We'd love to know that. And make it an awesome day. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for following us. And don't forget, you can follow us on the podcast is on pretty much every podcasting channel, whether it's iTunes or Spotify or whatever. And we're also on YouTube, and we'll be taking shorts from this episode. We'll be turning a lot of those into Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, etc. So you'll be seeing those on social media. So make sure you give us a subscribe, a like, a follow, a comment, and share the love a little bit. Hope you guys are having a great day. And by the way, Jemima Wanja says, thank you so much for that information. Great way to step into 2024. We appreciate you watching and participating today, Jemima. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
87%. Yeah, that's the percentage of all real estate agents that get in the business today that'll be gone in 2 years. Let me tell you something. Why is there so much turnover in real estate? Because it isn't easy. And because most people don't know exactly what they need to do to get to the next level. Now look, regardless of whether you're brand new to the industry or you're a team leader, you've got 40 people on your team and you just want to get to the next level. If you're doing 10 transactions a year, you want to get to 25. You're doing 500 transactions a year, you want to get to 1,000. You're at 1,000, you want to get to 10,000. Let me tell you something. You need the right coach. Why? Because Club Wealth is the only coaching company on the planet that will literally guarantee that you will double your income or make at least an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, or we will give you 100% of your investment back. This is for people of all levels. Click the link below, sign up for the appropriate tier level, and let's get you a strategy session today. And I promise you, I 100% guarantee you, promise you, that you will walk away with a heart full of gratitude for the time that we took for you, because you got so much value out of that call. Schedule your strategy session today. I promise you'll be glad you did.
Sign up for a strategy session at clubwealth.com/strategy session.